going on, everybody? Welcome to the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, are Vikings fans about to get some great news? We got some reports coming out of Indianapolis that Daniel Jones is apparently going to be the starter, which is huge for the Vikings comp pick formula heading into the next season. Then also, we do have an update. Jalen Ramsey. It's looking more and more likely that he's not going to be headed to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So could the Minnesota Vikings trade for the former All-Pro corner? We'll break it all down on today's show. But before we dive into it, I do want to say thank you guys so much to everybody who has hit that subscribe button over the last couple of months. We're closing in, though, on 57,500 subs. So if you guys have not hit that subscribe button just yet, please do so. Free, easy way to help us grow this channel here at Chat Sports. We just need 99 more of you guys to hit that milestone. So hit that subscribe button today, and let's talk about it. So could the Vikings be getting some more good news in terms of draft capital this upcoming season? Now, obviously, we know the Vikes had 4 picks heading into last year's draft, and it kind of put them behind the 8 ball in terms of how they're going to attack the draft process. But they should be set up to have a lot of picks next season. And Will Regetz of Sports Illustrated covers the Minnesota Vikings does a great job, and he was laying out why the Vikings could be getting some more good news here, saying, well, if Jones plays a certain amount of snaps in 2025, he would likely deliver a 4th-round compensation selection to Kwesi Mensa and company. But if Jones finishes below that snap threshold, the comp pick might fall to the 5th round or lower, depending on how the formula shakes out. So I don't know what that threshold is, what the amount of snaps that Daniel Jones has to play, but I'm assuming if he is at least a starter for 12 games, he's going to hit that threshold. And this is how the Vikings comp pick situation shakes out right now. So they are no doubt going to get a 3rd from Sam Darnold. He'll probably play all 17 games, barring injury for the Seattle Seahawks. So you should be getting a high-quality 3rd-round pick. And then if you could somehow get that Daniel Jones pick to remain a 4th-rounder, that would be huge. And then actually Trent Sherfield is slotted in to get the Vikings a 7th-round pick. So you could potentially get 3 comp picks, which would be massive for the Minnesota Vikings. Obviously they have spent a ton of money in free agency this past season. They don't have a lot to spend in 26 and 27. Now, obviously, you could restructure contracts, cut a couple players, and get more cap space there. But I do think the Vikings are going to need to start shifting through building through the draft. And, we can take Philadelphia Eagles. How did they build their Super Bowl roster? Yes, they had some great free agency signings, but they were built through the draft. And just having more draft picks will obviously help that situation. And if you are curious, what's going on in Indianapolis? Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson. Well, it's starting to sound like Daniel Jones has that QB1 spot locked up. Saying this from The Athletic. Daniel Jones is QB1 for now. The Colts signed the ex-Giants Vikings quarterback in free agency to challenge Anthony Richardson for the QB1 title in Indy. And Jones has already taken a significant lead. Now, I actually think the Colts could potentially be a sleeper team this upcoming season. If you kind of want to follow the path of quarterbacks who fizzled out with their previous organizations, went to a new organization, had some great coaching around him, which I believe Shane Steichen, Colts head coach, is a great offensive mind. Daniel Jones is taking a very similar path to Sam Darnold, where Darnold, the year before he got to the Vikings, he was with Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco 49ers, was able to learn from Brock Purdy and that whole organization there. Same thing with Daniel Jones. Went to the Vikings, learned from Kevin O'Connell, the QB whisperer, Josh McCown. Now he's getting a chance to start with the Indianapolis Colts. And with the Colts being my sleeper team, I fully expect DJ to hit that snap number. Listen, if this was a situation where the Colts were in a position where they could be the worst team in the league and, maybe they had a roster like the New Orleans Saints or something like that, I could, maybe have some doubts that even if DJ starts for the first half of the season, maybe they would pull him and put Richardson back out there just to see what they have in him. But I also think with the Vikings potentially getting 3 more comp picks this next draft, could they get aggressive? And I don't know if this would be a trade before the season, and we'll talk about Jalen Ramsey and a potential trade there here in a second, but what if it's a trade deadline? Vikings start off the year 4-1. They have a very gettable first 5 games of their schedule. If they are 4-1, they're starting to look around the league. Maybe they want to upgrade at the cornerback or safety position. I could really see the Vikings getting aggressive. So overall, I think this is good news for the Vikes. But let me ask you guys this. Will the Vikings make a major trade before the season? Give me a T for trade. Give me a P for pass. You guys share your thoughts down below in the comment section. I don't know about before the season, but I think Kwesi might have something up his sleeve if the Vikings do start off this year hot. But you guys let me know your thoughts down below. Now we'll dive into Jalen Ramsey and the latest trade rumors around his name here in a second. But first, I got to tell you guys about a new product here at Vikings Now by Chat Sports, and that is Factor Form. Now, if you guys want to start your day right with daily greens by Factor Form, head over to factor75.com/Vikings chat to get 40% off plus free shipping on your first order. And I've tried green supplements in the past, and I swore I was never going to try them again until I tried Factor Form's daily greens, and they completely changed my life. And most of us dread drinking greens, but Factor Form changed the game. You'll actually crave your greens. As a sister brand to Factor Meals, Factor Form was designed to work hand in hand with your meals, making better nutrition effortless. Daily Greens is a greens powder by Factor Form you look forward to drinking. Just one scoop delivers 100% of your daily nutrients, filling nutrient gaps, supporting whole body health, and helping you feel your best. Now, Daily Greens by Factor Form is made from real vegetables, packed with a whole serving of kale and spinach without tasting like it. And in a blind taste test, Daily Greens ranked #1 in taste, texture, and aroma, beating out some of the biggest names in the industry. So start your day right with Daily Greens by Factor Form at factor75.com/Vikings chat to get 40% off plus free shipping on your first order. That's factor75.com/Vikings chat for 40% off plus free shipping. Link for that is in the comments section and description of today's show. So check them out. Factor75.com/Vikings chat. All right, let's talk about it. Jalen Ramsey. He somehow has not been traded yet from the Miami Dolphins. Honestly, producer Dylan and I were talking about it before the show. We have doubts that he will get traded at all before the season, but clearly he wants out of Miami. Miami has said they're going to help, navigate a trade for him. And, the update we do have is not around the Vikings, but actually a team in Pittsburgh that could be out on a Ramsey deal. This is what Adam Schefter had to say on the latest around Ramsey, saying, I think Pittsburgh checked in. I'm not so sure Pittsburgh's going to be the destination. In fact, if I had to guess, I would say Pittsburgh would not be the likely destination. I think you're trying to figure out a home for Jalen Ramsey. It would have to work financially for both sides. And, if you start looking around, if the Steelers are out, who is really left? Because I do think if you are in a position to trade for Jalen Ramsey, it means you have Super Bowl aspirations. And I don't think a middle-of-the-pack team or a bad football team is going to want Jalen Ramsey. But the two teams that have been linked to Ramsey that are, I would think, are still in it would be the Minnesota Vikings and the Los Angeles Rams. Obviously, Ramsey won a Super Bowl with the Rams, very familiar with a lot of coaches still there, but he's also familiar with Kevin O'Connell and the Minnesota Vikings. He's talked about Brian Flores. He loves Flores' scheme, and he thinks he could be a massive piece of that. And I would assume Jalen Ramsey would love to play for the Vikings. And honestly, who wouldn't? You go back to last season, you see, the post-game press conferences or post-game locker room speeches from Kevin O'Connell. You see how this team really rallies around him. And specifically, if you're a defensive player, why would you not want to play for a guy like Brian Flores? A very aggressive DC, forces a lot of turnovers. And if you're a guy like Ramsey, why would you not want to play for him? And I actually do think Ramsey could help the Vikings in a multitude of different ways. I wouldn't rule out of him playing some makeshift safety for this ball club. And, a lot of us have been discussing, Josh Metellus, Harrison Smith, Theo Jackson. Who's really that fourth and fifth guy? Is it a guy like Jay Ward? I have doubts there that the Vikings fully trust him, but maybe they try to get aggressive, trade for Ramsey. He's kind of that fourth safety. Could also be a part of the cornerback room. He can play nickel. He can play outside, an extremely versatile player. And that's the buzzword with Brian Flores. Versatility. You got to be able to play multiple positions to excel in Flores' scheme. But still, there are question marks for the Vikings. Mekhi Blackmon, how much do you trust him coming off that torn ACL? Jeff Okudah, obviously a massive question mark. And then you really got two UDFAs that you would be putting a lot of faith in Zamia Vaughn and Dwight McGlothern. But you would be able to have a proven commodity in Jalen Ramsey. And I think this Vikings defense is going to be good no matter what. I just think Jalen Ramsey would take this defense over the top. Where I would be sitting here and saying, where's the weakness? Where's the weakness on the entire team, frankly? Offensively, you're good at the offensive line. You're good at tight ends, wide receivers, running backs, quarterbacks. And defensively, stacked D-line, great linebacker core. And then if you would add Ramsey to that safety, cornerback, just overall secondary, really no weakness to this group. So I would be in on a Jalen Ramsey trade. I think you could get him for a fifth, maybe a fourth-round pick. But I'll ask you guys, what say you on this one? Would you trade for Jalen Ramsey? Give me a T for trade or give me a P for pass and hit that subscribe button on the way out. Help us reach 57,500 subs. See y'all next time. As always, Skol Vikes.